I'll give you those instructions.
Okay, so you might want your feet like an inch wider apart. There you go, and turn your toes out way more than you think you need to. Like almost duck-footed. Yeah, let's start like that.
Like that?
Just squat
Okay,
down.
and we're going to do a, now I'm going to stay down.
You can, yeah, sure.
Just down?
Yeah.
Like, this is how I've been doing it.
Yeah. Okay, so try and get your elbows on the inside of your knees. There you go. And let's look down. Let's take your. There you go. Yeah. So I'll put something here. You can look at.
Jeez.
So just keep your eye on the camel as you go up and down. And by eyes, I mean you want not just your eyes. Like you don't want to be doing this.
My whole head.
No, look at my face. You want to be doing this. You want to you want your whole head down.
Okay. Okay. Once again.
Yep.
How many of these am I going to do?
Until you get it right.
Oh, jeez.
It's okay. So remember, your whole head, not just your eyes. There, yeah, perfect. Now, when you come up this time, I want you to think about driving your hips up. Yeah, okay, there you go. So, drive your hips up, but here, look at when I do it. Okay. So, you're going to want to drive your hips up, but not just your hips.
Okay.
You want your back angle to stay the same as you're driving your hips up.
Okay. I like the way you do it like that.
Most people find you get a bit more tension if you do your hands like this.
Then
if you want
against each other.
No, I would like think. Yeah. Whatever. I mean, it's whatever's comfortable. But.
Okay. So ready? 1, 2. My feet are okay.
Yeah. As long as they feel okay. Yeah. So shove your knees up. Now come back up. Awesome. I would say. You might want your feet a little bit wider, like maybe half an inch. Yeah. So still keep your toes. Yeah, there you go. It's different for everybody. Like some people squat very, very narrow. Some are wider than shoulder width. Okay. What matters is like as long as your knees are tracking over your foot. Okay. Yeah. So if you go too wide, your knee will be on the inside.
Yeah, I don't want that. No.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Okay, so we're gonna do that again.
Whole head down, not just your eyes. There you go, perfect. So try and get a little bit lower this time. Come back up.
I didn't drive with my hips that time.
Yeah, it's okay.
I was worried that you might be standing in front of the camera.
Okay.
Make sure you don't stand in front of the camera.
Yeah, actually, I haven't been thinking about that, so I'm glad you brought it up. So we'll only focus on one thing for each rep.
Okay.
So we'll do one more worried about hips, and then we'll move on to the next.
That's a good plan. Okay. Then what are we moving on to?
Yeah, don't worry about the next thing.
Okay, don't bite the camera.
So think about sitting back with your hips as if you're going to sit down in a chair. Yeah, better. So head down, not just eye. There, yeah, perfect. Now think about driving up with the hips. Good. Yep, perfect. So the way your back angle stayed constant down and then it didn't straighten out till you got up to the top.
Okay,
that's the way you want to do it every time.
Okay.
So let's do one more like that. Sit back with your back. There, yeah. Did you feel that little difference when you sat? That you want to go for that each time. You don't want to be leaned forward. Good. We're gonna stay with this because you're doing this well. So this time when you go down, think about your hips on the way down and up. So when you're sitting down, think as if you were sitting back, like looking for a chair with your butt.
Okay.
Good. Now drive the hips up. Nice. If you hear creaking noises, it's the house. It's not you.
It's a brand new house.
No, it's a hardwood floor.
The bad news is it's an old body in a new house.
No. It's not the ears.
I actually find the staying down there harder work than getting there and coming up.
It is.
Oh,
it should be.
Good, okay.
Which is why, as we get better and we do this faster and faster, like we were talking about, you're going to go looking for that stretch reflex.
Yeah.
Because when you find, here we'll pause and think this through.
Do you want to stop the camera?
No. Okay. So it'll be good because it'll rest your legs a bit too. So think if we were standing out on the road and your car was in neutral.
Okay.
And I just pushed the car as hard as I could down the road and it was coming right at you. You could reach out with one hand.
Stop it,
right?
Unless it was on a hill.
If it was going 80 kilometers an hour, it would turn you into a human puddle on the ground, right? So when you're squatting, when you get to the bottom, there's an optimal speed where you're gonna, because right now you're doing the like I just pushed it at you,
Yeah.
and the weight is going down, and you're like very capable of stopping it in the bottom and then reversing it and come
but
back
when I
out.
have a weight, maybe not so much.
Yeah, exactly. So what's going to happen is there's sort of an optimal speed where you want to do all your squats at, and you don't need to worry about finding it now because you'll find it.
Okay.
You won't find it consciously. You will only find it doing rep after rep. You want to find this optimal speed where you're going and you get this little bounce out of the bottom.
Yeah.
But not so hard that like you slam into the bottom and the weight keeps going and it just drives your knees till they explode. Right?
Okay, I don't want that. No.
So the once again with the car analogy, if I just push it, say it, like it's in your driveway, and I just push it towards your garage or towards the telephone pole. If it's going slow, it's just going to do this.
Yeah.
Right? If it's going quite fast, it's going to do the and bounce back. If it's going real fast, the edges of the car are going to wrap around the phone pole.
Okay.
So you don't want to be going that fast. You want to be going the like slight bounce fast.
Okay, slight bounce. Got it.
Cool.
Okay. I would suggest you pause the video.
Okay.
And then start it again, so I have 2 separate.
Okay, so we'll do a couple more reps just focusing on the hips, this time the way down and the way back up.
Okay. Am I pausing at the bottom or just kind of bouncing?
Yeah, let's start looking for the little bounce.
A little bounce, yeah. This will be a first little bounce, it might not be my best.
Don't worry about it. Good. So this time, in addition to going like slightly faster each time, try and get a little bit lower each time because you're just going to start to warm up and stretch out. So. Good. Come on back up.
Keep going.
Yep. So this next one, I want you to do a longer pause than you've been doing, and with your arms, focus on shoving your knees out, and with your brain, remember what that feels like. Okay. Because eventually you're gonna lose your arms. You're not gonna have them there to keep your knees out.
Yeah. My knees are gonna have to do it on their own. Good openings. Okay.
It's okay. Head down. There you go. Shove the knees. Feel what it feels like. Yeah,
I remember that now.
There you go. Yeah. So now, I'd like it, so you can shake it out if you need or whatever, if you're starting to feel a little stiff. We'll do one, and you can keep your hands in front of you just for but I don't want you to touch your knees.
Do it without touching my knees.
Do a namaste.
Okay.
And
so the trick will be getting my knees that far without physically pushing them that far.
Correct.
Okay. My feet okay?
Yeah. So I'm not gonna critique your foot position too much unless I start to think you know what I mean, like, because they've been looking good, and if they feel like that's where they should be, there's only so much cookie cutter that you can give to a person before they got to start finding their own.
Okay, so this time I'm not pushing my knees out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let my
you can do whatever you want with your arms. If you don't want to hold them in front of you, you don't have to. With me, I do this. I just
do that.
Yeah, you know what I mean, just so they're out of the way.
Mine are more like this.
Yeah, that's fine. So this knee, shove this out. There, perfect. You feel that little difference?
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure. Okay,
So do that a couple more times. Head down. I'm going to, because you like to look up the bottom of your eyes, I'm just going to put that right here. So keep looking at the camel, but...
So what I have been doing is I put my iPhone there with the timer and the stopwatch on it, so I can see how long I've stayed at the bottom.
Yeah,
and it actually focuses
it
my
keeps you
eyes
honest. Yeah, and it also, you'll find, especially when you're doing this, this gets very monotonous.
Yeah.
Having something to focus on that's not like, gee, my knees hurt and gee, my back's sore. Like it gives you, you know what I mean?
I have to confess, sometimes I listen to like YouTube.
Yeah.
Some weightlifting videos only. Weightlifting videos only.
Hey man, whatever floats your boat.
No Fox News.
There's a dude that trains at the gym I used to go to that listens to salsa music. That's actually working better. Yeah, so just eyes on the camel.
Moving the camel in helps a lot.
Yep. There you go. Try and get a little bit lower. Yeah, good.
Oh, watch out, Addie. Grandma's
Okay, so you do how I just want to, because that knee is definitely tracking over your foot. I just want to make sure this one is going where it's supposed to.
Okay.
So. And any time that you need to stop and shake it over, that's fine.
Okay.
You don't need to do 100 of these.
Yeah, you don't want to wear me out before you're done shooting. That could be a concern.
Yeah, so shove that right knee a little bit further to the right. There you go. I would this toe, like leave your heel where it is, pivot your toe towards your other foot like a 1/4 inch, like that. There, now try it.
Okay. And then after this one, let's stop the camera first.
Okay. Nope, shove your knee up.
You know what, that one, my foot moved all by itself. I didn't even try to, my foot just moved.
We'll focus on. Yeah, okay, there you go.
Oh wow, I never feel that straight.
Yeah. It looked. I can tell you're for whatever.
This leg is way stronger than this leg.
Okay.
I've been told by doctors, physiotherapists, and massage therapists.
So what that might be is the adductors on the inside of your leg, because they are stronger but not trained, like they're not stretched out. Probably what's going down is you're getting to the bottom. It's internal rotation. They're pulling your femur in, which is why your knee is like collapsed a little bit on the inside. So you need to very consciously, because you're going to lose your arms now. Like as of today, I mean, you can still practice with them every day and whatever, but we need to start getting to the point where you don't need your arms so that you can switch to the bar. So you need to very consciously think like for whatever reason, like your left knee seems to be going over your toe, no problem. Your right knee, because
it's arguing with me.
Yeah, and I would say you don't want to get in the habit of always looking at it, because that little, like where your eyes go is where your body will start to go. So you want to look at the camel, but you need to think, okay, I gotta push this right knee over the toe. Okay, so yep.
We'll get ready for the next thing. Do you see a little red dot?
Okay, so everything's going good. Your legs looking like they're coming along or whatever. So now we're going to start worrying about, remember we talked about your hip crease going below your knee? We're going to start to focus on that. Something happens when you get to the bottom of a squat. There's like a rip in the space-time continuum, and like geometry goes out the window because you're at the bottom. And everybody thinks they're below parallel. And 9 times out of 10, they're not. Like until you've actually felt like that little stretch reflex and what going right below parallel feels like, it's very hard to know if you are.
Okay, so you have to watch.
So don't take it personally if I tell you every rep in a row that you're not there yet. You're not there. It's not you. It's just how it is.
Okay, I'm just gonna tuck this in so you can see my hips. How's that?
And I'm gonna stand on this side. Okay.
Okay. So what am I doing?
You can for this one, if you want to use your arms on your knees, you still can. It's it's a good time to do it because you want to sort of isolate which thing you're working on.
Okay. So now am I just squatting again, and you're watching my hips? Is that what's going on here?
And run through your checklist from the ground up. So look at your feet. And
my feet are far enough apart.
Good. Okay. So make sure your knees are pointing in the direction of your toes.
Yeah, that's good.
Make sure your eyes are on the camel. Okay. And sit back with your hips and off you go.
Give that instruction again so it's at the beginning of the clip.
There you go. Okay. So this time we'll focus on depth. I'm just going to watch this leg for you. So run through your checklist with your feet. Eyes where you need them.
On the camel.
And so you're going to sit back with your hips like you're looking for a chair.
Okay.
And
you're watching to see if I'm below parallel. That's the goal here, below parallel.
So the crease of your hip here, below the
the odds of that are
yeah, that's fine. Doesn't matter.
Okay, let's just see what happens when I go down. I wish I was Addy right now.
Yeah, everybody does. So way better than 2 minutes ago. So stand back up. You're not as high as you thought you were going to be.
Okay. And I notice when I go down, this knee just turns out on its own without me telling it to. So I don't know what that means.
You're all watching? Go ahead. So shove that knee out. You're actually getting pretty low, man. You're looking not bad at all. Come on back up. I can't believe I'm saying this, but you might actually want your feet even just a little bit wider, like a hair wider. Like everybody's segment lengths are different, and maybe you just need a naturally wider stance to get your knees where you need them to be. Let's
see what happens if I do it with them wider.
So if you can while you're down there, yeah, there you go. See how you're okay. Come back up. Did you notice that your toe turned out a little bit when you got
I
into
can
the bottom?
feel it, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so two things. That shouldn't happen because
Okay.
your weight should be evenly over
Okay,
your foot.
okay.
But the reason that happened is that when you started the squat, your leg was trying to go anatomically where it's supposed to, which is like your knee goes over the direction of your toe.
Uh-huh.
But your knee just knew that your toe was pointed to in.
Okay.
And your like autonomic nervous system or
Was
something,
adjusted?
some unconscious thing, maybe it was like looking at the camel or whatever, just told your foot, it's like, no, point out like that. And now I would say, look down,
Okay.
take a like mental picture with your brain of how far out your toes are pointed and
Okay.
how wide they are, and that should probably be your squat stance from now on.
I find the
Good.
camera too.
You want me to grab your
Yeah,
phone?
grab my, I don't know, I plugged it in, I plugged it in. Stop the camera again, it's starting, we can cut out the lock.
Okay. Good, because I have something to say here that we'll put at the beginning. Do you want to look at the picture?
Yeah.
So now compare, see how what you thought they should look like compared to how turned out your toes are there?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah, big difference.
I
big
know,
difference. Okay, yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, way different.
Yeah, see?
Okay,
Yeah. That's why it's good to do stuff like
Yeah,
this.
awesome, okay.
Okay, so we'll do, now that we got a lot of things sorted out there, now we'll do the depth thing.
Okay.
So what I'm going to have you do is keep your breathing like normal, go down to the bottom, and try and hold it down there for as long as you can. Because if you're not low enough, I'm going to keep saying lower, lower, lower.
Okay.
I know it sucks, but whatever.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna hold my, I'm gonna breathe in and keep it in.
No. So you're breathing, just breathe like normal.
Okay.
You can breathe down there. You can breathe.
Oh,
all the
I
way
can
up
breathe
and
down
yeah,
there,
just
okay, I can
breathe.
breathe
Because
down there.
the point of this is we want to find that spot that's going to become your target that you're going to try and hit every single time.
Okay.
So we're not going to worry about breathing or anything that comes after that. We just got to find where the target that you need to hit. Okay.
Yep.
Look at the camera. Shove your knees out. Come back up. So that one I would say was at parallel. So if you think you can get like even just a
I
half
can do a
inch
little, I can do a half
over,
inch,
yeah.
I can do a half inch. I was surprised
it's
it
all-
took back up, I thought I was supposed to stay down.
It's also not a thing that you need to, like, you warm up to this.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
would be
Like
the first
you
thing
don't
to do,
you don't need to, you know, when you wake up at 6:30 in the morning and you're doing this before you have to rush off to work or something, you, like, don't come out here and think, man, I gotta get as low as I can get the first rep to the
Yeah.
last rep. Like,
Yeah.
you need to warm up to
Okay,
this.
okay. So my feet are down, I haven't moved my feet.
Look at the camera. A little bit low. Boom, that's it right there. Pop back up. And I'm going to take another picture for you from the side. Because you got that one pretty good, I think.
Let me know when you want me to go.
Okay, go ahead. Leave it lower and look at the camel. Just like a hair lower and sit back on your heels a bit because your heels are coming up. There. Oh, okay, come back again. I didn't actually get the picture, but.
Oh no! Okay, I'll do
okay.
it again, hold on.
Take a breather. Sorry, I've been paying so much attention to other things that I forgot, like, when you're going down, a cue that it helps some people, think big toe, little toe, heel. If your big toe, little toe, and heel are pressed into the floor,
Okay.
your foot should be about as flat as it needs to be, and your weight will be centered over the middle of your foot.
Okay.
Okay, I know it's another thing to think of, but it would suck if we got everything right, but your heels were coming up off your ground.
I had no idea there was so much thinking
Yep.
in lifting.
Nobody does.
Live and learn. Yeah, I know. I guess.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay.
So
Here we go.
do everything you just did, because you were right in the perfect position.
Okay, I get the photo. This
Yeah.
time.
Yes, ma'am. And you go. Feel down. A little hair lower. Boom. There you go. So come back up. So to me, that's
Oh,
parallel.
look, okay, that's parallel. Yeah, I'm trying to keep my heel down. It feels like it's trying to lift itself up magically.
So the reason for that
Yeah.
is because your weight's coming forward. Like the reason it feels like your foot is doing things that you're not in control of is because your weight's not where it needs to be.
Okay.
Right. So like a very obvious example. If I'm just standing here and I try to do a Michael Jackson like smooth criminal forward, I feel my weight go right on the balls like almost immediately.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And that is generally more where people fail than backwards, because once again we're very used to doing what our eyes are accustomed to.
What's ahead of you? Yeah.
So the feeling of falling. Have you ever done one of those tests where like the trust test,
trust
like
test,
corporate retreat type stuff?
Yes.
The reason that's so terrifying. Yeah, exactly. The reason that's so terrifying is because we're not used to falling backwards on our heels. Like even if you tell somebody stand just on your heels, usually what they'll do is they'll just like stick their butt back. They won't actually like lean back on their heels, right? So if you're down in the bottom and you're leaning on your toes, it doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong with your feet. It means that you haven't pushed your weight far enough back into your hips. Right?
Wasn't that an expression in the English language? He's back on. You tossed him back on his heels.
Back on his heels.
Threw him back on his heels.
It's because when boxers get hit, right, and they're like jarred,
and
you see them do that. That's when you know, like, oh, this fight ain't going well.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Because if he's falling forward, well, he's still in the fight. But if he's falling backwards, it's like, you know what I mean? So, the picture, that's parallel.
I'm surprised I could even do that.
Yeah, when I was here 2 weeks ago or whatever, you were like 6 inches above that.
Wow.
Like, that's why we didn't take any pictures.
But been good before and after.
I would say, so your target is like a hair lower than that.
Okay.
I'm not too upset about that because the reason you were able to hold that for so long is that's kind of like right before the target. When you hit the target, you're going to feel the little, like it's going to be, the first time people feel the stretch reflex, like consciously, it like blows their mind. They're like, oh my god, that was the easiest squat I ever did.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I had that to look forward to.
Yeah. But like as you can see from what we've done today, you're kind of just getting to the point where your legs are like limber enough to get down there, right? 2 weeks ago you couldn't even get down there. But now I would say, and we'll pause like right after. This is the perfect time to end. Your goal for the next week and a half, whatever, till I'm back, is when you come out and do your 3 sets of 5, start looking for that little bounce. Like do all the drills we went over, get your feet correct, look at the camel, you start taking your arms away, and then once you're warmed up and you feel like you're actually accomplishing something, go looking for that spot just below parallel, and you're going to feel it because you'll go down and you'll just like bounce, you'll bounce right out of it. You won't bounce all the way to the top, but like the 4 to 6 inches that are hard out of the bottom will suddenly disappear.
Oh, okay.
So, good?
Yeah, that's good. You want to pause and start again?
Okay.
Are we done? High five? That's it?
Good, yeah.
I can do that again.